go to hit live, I'm like, don't mess this up. Hit
No,
live.
it's perfect. It's perfect. We're live. Hey, Broncos country, what is going on? Any other NFL fans coming in here? Steelers Nation. We might
Oh
find some
yeah.
Steelers fans coming in here. Welcome. And really excited to be doing one of my first collaborations with YouTuber, really Flawed. Thanks again for joining the show, being willing
Of course.
to collaborate. And before I get started, we have intros, all of that. Just want to say thank you to everybody who's found the channel recently. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, which means pretty much world
Amen to that.
domination. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Amen to that.
Yes, it's amazing. So, but today, Broncos fans, if you're tuning in, we're going to talk some Broncos news. We got some Broncos and Steelers news to talk about. Then we're going to just have a general NFL chat. That's something that I've been craving for, and really Flawed is here to do it with me. Appreciate it again. But let's go ahead and get started. Really Flawed, I want to know, why'd you start your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Why are you a Steelers fan? Who are you?
Yes. So I started YouTube because I have a lot to say and I have a lot of opinions. And I didn't feel like I had a space to really talk about the things I wanted to talk about. So I started my own channel so that I could talk about the things I wanted to talk about.
Yes.
I am a Texas fan. Hook 'em. Obviously in my Texas gear. And obviously we pretty much dominated the draft because we are back. So Texas is my thing. I am a Steelers fan. I have been a Steelers fan since I was like 4. I remember, I don't know if I was 4, I'm making up my age, but I remember coming home and watching a blue team against a yellow team. And everybody was cheering for the blue team, but I wanted to cheer for the yellow team. And the yellow team was the Steelers and the blue team was Dallas.
I knew
and
it.
So I started liking the yellow team, and then I liked the color yellow. I liked the little Tweety bird. And so yellow was my favorite color. And then as I got older, I realized like what the Steelers were, who they were as an organization.
You lucked out with the ownership compared to Dallas. Big time.
Exactly. Fell in love with what they were doing. And I have been hooked ever since. I always tell people this. Casey Hampton was my favorite Steeler of all time. And so I feel like that Steeler Texas connection is my thing. So I just love the Steelers. And then I got lucky. I went to Pittsburgh years ago. I've been devastated by them. I've been happy by them. So that's just my team. Like I'm a Steelers fan through and through. I'm riding with them until the wheels fall off. And who doesn't love Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, thank you. So I want to get into this a little bit later because, sometimes I hear these things about, we need to get rid of Mike Tomlin. No. Mike Tomlin would have a job instantly if they were to move on from him. But again, really pumped to have you on the show. And I thought this was great timing. We saw Antonio Brown tweeted out. We've seen some other tweets going on with the Steelers wanting to make a play for another big time wide receiver. Hey, Russ is already there. A lot of people seem to think that it could be Courtland Sutton. I was thinking there was a pretty good possibility that he was going to be traded during the draft. But want to get your thoughts not only on what Courtland Sutton would mean to the room and what that room looks like right now, but also just, how are you feeling right now with the team, with the quarterback situation you got going on?
Yeah, so feeling great about the quarterback situation. I have been advocating for this long before anybody thought it was possible. So I'm super excited. I think the best thing for me is that we have people that have to prove it. And I like when people on my team have to prove that they should be there. And they're playing for future contracts. Like if Wilson doesn't do well, I don't know who else is going to take a chance. If Justin Fields doesn't do well, the Steelers don't have to pick up his option. So I like where we're at. Listen, after Ben, I'm like privileged as a Steeler fan. I had Big Ben for 15, 16 years. Yeah. Quite frankly, the last 3 or 4 was like a joke, but I've been really lucky on the quarterback front. So for me, I am like, this could be the next coming of something. So yeah, they have to battle it out. And I trust Tomlin will put the right guy out there.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see them pair Justin Fields with Russell Wilson because I feel like some of their strengths align. And I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, what was y'all's record again last year? You guys were like right on the verge of the playoffs, if not a playoff berth, right?
We made the playoffs. What were we? I don't know. 10-7, 10
okay. And you
something.
did that with Kenny Pickett. You did it with who else were you throwing out there?
Mason Rudolph. We had a sprinkle of Mitch Trubisky.
Yes.
I mean, it was bad. It was so bad that even non-Steelers fans were like, if you all had a quarterback, I mean, this might be something serious.
Yes.
We were bad.
And I think I think one thing that will serve Russell Wilson well is that he's not coming into a place with sky high expectations where he did here. And I think the style with bringing in Arthur Smith, I'm sure you're a fan of that compared to Matt Canada. Yeah. It's just going to serve Russell and Justin Fields, I think, a little bit better. I mean, I think you guys, your first couple picks this year were offensive linemen. You guys got a running back core.
I love my Steelers. I was at home and everyone was like, are you worried? Are you worried? I was like, no, we're going to get foundational pieces. It's going to be safe. We're going to build the way we're supposed to. And lo and behold, I'm like, okay, great. And then I'm like, okay, now we need a center. Okay, perfect. Got that. It was almost calling it as it was happening. So it was great.
Yeah. So I think it's a good situation where I think Russ can be successful. I think if you're expecting him, or if some people are expecting him to play like Seattle Seahawks Russ 8 years ago, that's just not who he is athletically anymore. And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if you see this thing with Justin Fields really kind of take off, because it's going to be very interesting to see who wins this quarterback battle. But I think the profile of these quarterbacks is kind of similar. And right now with the wide receiver room, what would it mean to get somebody like Courtland Sutton? What does it look like right now? Because I know you guys trade Deontay Johnson.
We literally have one wide receiver. Like we have, wide receiver one, which is George Pickens. I mean, let's just leave him where he's at. He's fine. And then we we picked up a guy from Michigan. I cannot think of his name. But we got him from Michigan, so he'll probably play. Okay. But other than that, we're very thin at receiver. Like one of the things that I was shocked they didn't get was a receiver. However, if you listen to what everybody is saying on Twitter, that like Steelers Twitter, we're in the market pretty heavy right now for a receiver. And we're hearing big news is coming soon. Like stay tuned. So, you know how that goes. But a lot of people are saying it. So who knows? Maybe we can break some news while we're live.
It would be interesting because personally, after we didn't trade Russ this past year, or didn't trade Courtland in the draft, I kind of like to keep him just for, Bo Nix to have a veteran wide receiver. But it's kind of one of those things where he's in a contract year, similar to the quarterbacks that you just brought up. And he's got chemistry with Russ. If we're going to get rid of him, you might as well get rid of him right now. I don't want him to walk for anything or for nothing. Sure. So if we can recoup some draft capital, my guess is it would probably be a day 3 type of pick. You got to take what you can get sometimes if you're going to move on from him. But hey, maybe, would you give up a 3rd round pick for somebody like Courtland Sutton? I don't really know.
I think we would, because we traded away Kenny Pickett and got like 2 picks from the Eagles, which is laughable at best. And then we only gave up like a conditional 7th or something like that for Justin Fields. So we have the draft. Yeah, we have the draft capital for sure.
Okay, because I would absolutely take a 3rd round pick for Courtland Sutton right now. We were, I think, able to get like a 5th and a 6th, or a 4th and a 6th, I forget, for Jerry Jeudy. So I think we'll be able to get some more value for him.
Yeah. Is Simmons still on the Broncos team, or is he a free agent?
Been a free agent, still out there.
I think he's another person we're trying to get, because we need a safety.
Yes, and he's a great one. He fits Steelers culture and all that. So
can I also do like a fun fact? I think out of the 7 or 6 guys we drafted, I think like 3 or 4 of them are like Steeler fans. Like they have pictures of themselves and they have old tweets of themselves. Like they are like Steelers through and through. So I just thought it was cool that we took so much slack this year from like, this isn't the Steelers way. And you know how people are. And now we have people that are like, this is who, like our first round pick was like, Troy Polamalu is my favorite. I loved him. My idol. He's my idol. And I'm like, what? It's so random. But hey, we'll take it.
Man, I think that's really cool. And being a Texas fan, you guys also drafted a Longhorn, correct? And
we did.
Who was that? Let's talk about the Longhorns a little bit.
Yeah. So first of all, Texas is back. So if anybody was worried or wondering or concerned, Texas is officially back. And so that's good. I think the best part in seeing players get drafted is for probably 10 years. And I'm not even exaggerating. It's probably more like 12 years. People have been saying like, you can't get developed at Texas. You can't do this at Texas. They have all this money and all these nice things. And all they care about is being nice and fancy. And they're not gritty enough. We got 11 players drafted in the draft this year.
That is insane.
11 guys drafted. And to be honest, they will probably all make an immediate impact. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Watts to be in Pittsburgh also because like, I don't know. I like when Texas guys go to Pittsburgh. It's like, I don't have to lose that. I'm like, oh, I know you. Hi.
Yes. And okay. So do you think like Ryan Watts right now, is he going to be like a slot player, part-time player? You think he can start? We did sign Levi Wallace from y'all. Was he bad last year?
I don't want to say he was bad. Sometimes guys, you just feel like they're almost always there. And it's like you catch yourself kind of being like, oh, he was there. Oh, but he was there. Oh, but it was one of those situations. Let me say this though. The Steelers play the toughest division in football. I don't care who you ask. We're in the AFC North. And we have 6 games every year that are tough and brutal because that's who we are. And then our schedule last year was, pretty tough. So I don't like calling players like awful, but he always seemed to be like a little bit behind.
That's okay.
So yeah. So I'm like, he can work on that. He can improve, but I'm just kind of like, oh.
Yeah,
nobody cried when he left.
Things are pretty thin right now between, after Pat Surtain, and so we got like 4 guys kind of vying for that cornerback 2 spot. We'll see how it goes, but fair. Overall, here we go. You guys drafted Roman Wilson. I think he was the primary target for JJ McCarthy this past year.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier Deontay Johnson went to Carolina. He's a perfect kind of I don't want to say just slide right in, but you know how it goes. Like he's a perfect replacement for what we gave up.
And overall, like in terms of your draft, like looking at it, it just seems very Steelers. Going offensive line, linebacker, guard, defensive end. Overall, like what were your thoughts on like how the Steelers handled this draft?
So the only thing I was surprised about was that we didn't get another receiver. And I was actually surprised. That was really the main thing that surprised me. But I've been hearing that we're going to try to trade for one. So maybe, I don't know. For some reason, I thought the Steelers were going to trade with somebody during the draft. And it was going, So that's why it shocked me. We kept all of these draft picks, to be quite honest. But I like it. Like you said, it's very Steelers. It's very hard-nosed football. It's very much like shore up our foundation, Make sure that the guys that you just got are protected. Let's be honest. They're both cheap right now. So you're like your best asset are the cheapest assets that are performing really high. So, let's keep those guys. So I was really happy with what we did. The funny thing I will tell you is, the Steelers are not they're like last in betting right now. So I need like the only bets I ever make. Yeah. Last to win the AFC North this year.
Very interesting. Yeah. Again, you just can't count the Steelers out when they got Mike Tomlin. I know like the offense has It's felt just as broken
Struggled.
as probably my Broncos offenses over the years. But I feel like if the Steelers, they're really able to get the most out of the run game and emphasize that, I think that's best off for either quarterback you're putting out there. And with the defense y'all got, again, if you're making the playoffs with the quarterback carousel y'all had last year, who's to say you guys can't do it again? And who knows what happens?
Who knows? That's why I always say I'm a privileged fan when it comes to the Steelers, because my complaints are, yeah, we made the playoffs, but so what? Like, some teams would do anything just to win like 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, and here I am complaining.
No, we haven't had a winning record since 2016 right now, where we went 9-7.
It's been since 2016?
Yes, we went 9-7 with Trevor Siemian the year following the Super Bowl, because we drafted Paxton Lynch, which we didn't do any homework on at all, and he just loved Fortnite a lot more than football. That's like really what it was. And we had our third string quarterback starting for us for a couple years, and that was honestly the best football we've gotten since. But I'm feeling up.
You're feeling good. You know what's funny is I watched Peyton Manning's first game in Denver. I was there. And I then watched Peyton Manning lose the Super Bowl that year. Oh. So I'm like, and then so one of my friends used to love Denver when it was like John Elway and stuff like that. So Denver's one of those organizations where you're like, once they figure it out and they go on a roll. And I love that. Yes. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I watch a football game in any way, shape, or form, in my mind, I'm always going, in, come, please.
Yes.
I can't not say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, hey, Denver's been good to me. So I won't ever complain about the Broncos.
Well, you'll find this funny. This is a spoiler for anybody who's watching, Matt, Jose, a few of the other LNV. How I got now my Ralphie horns that I wear for my CU channel. When we get some good news, I'll throw those on. I just ordered one of those old school foam Broncos heads that like Shannon Sharp wore back in the day. So when we get good Broncos news, I can throw that thing on and talk with all the fellas. So I think it will be fun. But this is honestly probably the most hope. Ironically, I feel like we probably feel the same way. This is the most hope we've had at the quarterback position in quite a while for some different reasons.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson, Justin Fields fit what Arthur Smith and, fit that offense a little bit more, as I do think that Bo Nix just fits very well.
So tell me about y'all's draft. How did you like it?
I loved it. And it's not because they picked all the guys that I wanted them to pick, but there were some main things that I just wanted the Broncos to accomplish.
Got it.
Draft a quarterback, get some offensive weapons, and fill the other, 20, some of the other 20 positions that we got on the roster. It's just not a very good roster. And I wanted to accomplish that without trading Patrick Surtain and without giving up a bunch of big time draft capital like we gave up recently in the Russ trade. So we were missing a second round pick this year because of part of the Sean Payton trade. And outside of like Caleb Williams or kind of that top quarterback tier, I really do feel like the best quarterback, and you might even argue the quarterback that I felt like just naturally fits what Sean Payton wants to do the best right now, it's Bo Nix. It's not a sexy pick by any means, but it makes sense. And I don't know if you'll see this with Russ, really Flawed. But in Broncos country, we've kind of had, this different like super fandom with some of the quarterbacks we've had come in here. We've had Tim Tebow mania was just absolutely insane.
Oh,
and
gosh,
so
listen, Tebow beat my Steelers in the playoffs. So and I will never forgive Ryan Clark for not playing and risking his life. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. But so I know all about those Broncos.
So Tebow mania was insane. Now, I will say, when the Peyton Manning fans came over, that worked just fine because the fanfare made sense because Peyton Manning was actually, really damn good. So it like wasn't an issue. And I still feel like a lot of Peyton Manning fans have still stuck around to follow the Broncos, just like he is out here. He's still is in the facility all the time.
Oh,
but
cool. I didn't know that. Good for
yeah,
Peyton.
yeah. He does his video shoots sometimes at the facility. He's there helping out with the team whenever he wants, but he's just doing his own thing. He's enjoying retirement. He coaches youth football out here as well. But yeah, he's loving it out here, but I digress. Then after that, we had some Drew Lock stands, but there really weren't a ton. But then when we brought Russ over here, we didn't really know too much about Russ. Russ has a very devout following, and that can be good, that can be bad. I think the biggest thing is that the expectation with how things played out here, it just wasn't the right balance.
It's all bad. Yeah.
But I think, again, with the tempered expectations and the situation that he's going to in Pittsburgh, I think it will benefit. Now, a lot of what, like, I didn't understand Seahawks fans like being bitter towards it or being just annoyed with like the media spin until being out here with him leaving. It's like he's very conscientious of his image. He is going to leak things to the media when things aren't looking well. And if you just understand that going in, it will be a fine experience.
Right. And you know what's interesting is I think that's why they got Fields, because, and I've always said, like, it is. So the NFL is a business, and I love the NFL for being a business. It's one of the things I love about it. And it's almost like, cool, if you're going to be that guy, fantastic. We have Justin Fields anyway. So it's kind of like this thing where it's like Justin Fields is not only an insurance policy, but he's also a keep you in line policy, that if it just goes south, we have no problem being like, okay, cool, that's fine.
Yes.
Because listen, we've had Antonio Brown, and we've had Le'Veon Bell, and we've had guys. We had Deontay Johnson. Like, we've had guys that, and we got rid of them.
That's true. Dealing with the Russell Wilson media, it's not. You guys are going to deal with that just fine compared to guys like Antonio Brown.
Can I just also plug and say and be honest? I am actually more excited to see Sierra than I am about Russell Wilson. Like, I love Sierra. Like, shout out to Sierra. I mean, you know what? Like, how could you not be excited to see her at games and walking around training camp? I mean,
it's super cool. It is. And what I liked about Russ when he was here, big sports fan, so I think I've already seen him going to the Pittsburgh Penguins games and stuff like that. So big baseball guy. I don't know if you knew this. He was drafted by the Colorado Rockies.
And
he'll be at the Pirates games.
Pittsburgh is all about sports too. Like, if you like sports, you have to, like, I want to move there. Like, I would love a condo in downtown Pittsburgh and go there and leave during people want to retire and go to Florida. I want to retire and buy a condo in Pittsburgh because it's like sports all year round and everybody loves sports there.
You're a true diehard.
Yeah, I love it.
In Pittsburgh.
I absolutely love it.
But all that to say, I forgot my main point. I was bringing up all these different quarterbacks and their following. All that to say, it's just right now, it's very refreshing for Broncos country with Bo Nix coming in here. I feel like he's just a guy who loves football, and we're not bringing in like a total new fan base along with drafting him and that kind of media circus that can develop that we've seen in the past out here in Denver. Just a guy who loves football. And I think that that's something that the fan base has really welcomed. We're just a little bit over things being played in the media. Like with Drew Lock, like his mom was like really outspoken at different times. And it's just like, dude, you cannot have your mom speaking for you like that. It's kind of weird like that. And I think it's going to work out. I just learned this about Drew Lock from, I think it was Marquee Sports I was listening to, that Bo Nix started for his high school varsity team every year, including the 8th grade. And he started playing tackle football when he was 13.
Really?
Yes. That's insane.
That is insane. And you know what? I am excited for Bo Nix because I don't know enough about him or anything really about him, but I feel like, some guys just get like not bad reputations. They just get a reputation that is just kind of and people are just kind of like, don't want to deal with him per se. I'm excited for him to go to a place where he can build and he can learn and he can develop and he can,
Because I feel like a lot of these players, and this is why I talked about in one of my videos earlier, when we look at the quarterbacks, I'll pull that up here just so people have something to look at. It will be kind of cool. But I feel like so often when you're drafted in the first round, so often these guys are having to overcome instability in the organization.
Yep.
They're having to overcome bad coaching. Denver's in a unique circumstance because we've been in like a Game of Thrones type of battle for ownership for a very long time. I don't know if you knew this. Pat Bowlen had 2 sets of kids from different wives, and he didn't leave any of them as like the immediate successor after he died.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so, is that how the Waltons came in and were able to buy? Okay.
Yes, because there were lawsuits, there were all these different things, and there was this student ownership kind of, the wins went down the drain because Pat Bowlen died kind of after we won the Super Bowl. And this is a little bit of a digression, but you had this trust that one of the members was also Joe Ellis, the president of the Broncos. And so they needed to determine when any of these children were right to take over, like control of the team.
Yeah.
But then it's a huge conflict of interest because then you're basically firing yourself if you're Joe Ellis. And so basically all these lawsuits needed to happen between all these family members. And they just decided, you know what, we're all going to take our billions and just sell the team, which should have happened. But now we got the Walton Penner Group, which is great. I think they're great owners, and they're paying Sean Payton like $20 million, a little under that, to coach this team. And you have a committed coach that I feel like, Sean Payton isn't a perfect coach. I think sometimes, you know how YouTube is and Twitter is really flawed, which is like, you're either elite or you're trash. And I think Sean Payton is really competent. We went, Sean Payton from a guy who couldn't even get in a play call, from the.
Oh gosh, that was bad.
Yeah. When he's been around his dad coaching his entire life, I didn't understand it. But anyways, I think this is a good situation for Bo Nix because let's look at the quarterbacks right now. Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. Jane Daniels, new ownership, Commanders. Drake May, New England Patriots, stable organization, but kind of right now. Michael Penix, we definitely need to talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And JJ McCarthy, Vikings, Bo Nix. So you'll want to start with Michael Penix? Let's start there. Give me your thoughts.
So you know what's sad? My issue isn't with Michael Penix. Michael Penix actually is winning, and kudos to him because he was a first round draft pick. He did what he was supposed to do. His job was to show up and get drafted, and he showed up and he got drafted. The Atlanta Falcons, though, knowing they need a corner, knowing they need playmakers right now, I don't understand the pick because you're basically honestly handicapped at quarterback, literally and figuratively, because you just made a guy $180 million. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I was so confused by it. And I don't know, like, was this a GM thing from Terry Fontenot or was it the ownership, Arthur Blank? I don't really know.
Arthur Blank. Did you see the video? He looked shocked. He was kind of like, he was all of us that was kind of like, okay, you've got to explain this one. Just explain this one to me. Like, make it make sense. And then after it's all over and I'm like, okay, maybe like they'll say something that's kind of like, okay, I can understand it. They come out and say they didn't get a cornerback because they didn't want to reach to get a quarterback, to get a cornerback. So I'm like,
you'll reach on your future quarterback. Instead, right?
After you paid a guy $180 million. Yeah.
I feel so bad for Falcons fans because Falcons fans, man, they're long suffering and you think they're like getting things together. They got a direction. Like Kirk Cousins is fine, he's fine for what they need. And I don't know if you saw that little clip from like one of the Falcons Twitter spaces of them just
yelling.
Losing.
Yeah.
Their absolute mind.
So they had a press conference and Raheem Morris and the GM, I can't think of his name, were there and they were doing a press conference. They were like, yeah, well, what do you think? How do you think Kirk Cousins feels? Blah, blah. And they were like, oh, I don't know. We told them, blah, blah. And then later they were like, well, Kirk Cousins is not happy. His team has leaked. Like they're not sure why. You know, you guys got a quarterback, and they were like, "Really? Oh, really? He said that?" And I'm like, "Do you guys? I mean, is it me or like what is happening? What is happening? Like, Dave, they could have called you or
I just don't know.
And you and I would have made a better pick.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, I know Kirk Cousins, nice guy, you know, nice guy, but I just don't see how that plays well in the locker room. And I mean, again, hats off to Michael Penix because he's getting paid way more than I thought he ever would have right now. But it's a bummer that he's not going to be able to play for a while because being a 24-year-old player, similar to Bo Nix, you're more so wanting to get on the field sooner rather than later. And I just don't fully understand. Like, I can get the Jordan Love plan when he's 20 years old. I just don't get it when, you know, he's Michael Penix, 24 years old right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I just feel like Falcon fans can't catch a break. Go ahead.
You know, the worst case scenario is going to be this, right? So Penix starts because can't start. Cousins can't start. He's actually recovering. Like they said he's not going to be available until like week 6 or something like that. So what happens if Penix starts and let's just say he does well? Let's say Penix starts and he's like 4-2. Do you then?
You're in a Russell Wilson situation. You just gave him $100+ million. You just got to cut him and move on. Then I guess.
Yeah. So do you say, okay, Penix, thanks for being a rookie and leading us to 4-2. It hasn't been pretty, but you've won games. But now we have to play Kirk Cousins. And by the way, he's coming off of a Achilles, so he's not going to be. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know what the thinking was there. And like I said, this isn't Penix's fault by any stretch of the imagination. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yes. Insane. Well, you got me thinking, and I'm not trying to bait you into saying Bo Nix because you're talking with a Broncos channel right now. But with these rookie quarterbacks right here, who do you feel like has the biggest chance to be successful?
I would say probably Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Mainly because I like his offensive coordinator. And I like his division.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I trust that they will take care of him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I trust the Bears with anything. I think the New England Patriots drafted Mac Jones 2.0, but I could be wrong.
Oh, that's a nice hot take.
I could be wrong. McCarthy, I'll just leave him where he's at. I mean, I think they got another Kirk Cousins, which is fine. I think my problem with Bo Nix is he might be okay, but I don't know about how everything is going to be for him. And then they just got you guys just got Zach Wilson.
I know, the MILF hunter.
Yeah, so it's like, what are we? So, you know, and the second, if he starts, the second he does something wrong, you know how this goes. You know, they're going to be calling for the other guy, even though the other guy is absolutely terrible, in my opinion.
I'm hoping we don't start Zach Wilson. I just want to throw that out there right now. I need to do a video on this. You're reminding me. When you take a 24-year-old, you need to just put him out there. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
You need to give him the reps and just get him out.
Yeah, just get him out there. Because my thing is what is the worst that can happen? You're already there. So you have to let him play out of it.
And I was thinking about this. I know it's a little bit different of a situation, but I talked about Jordan Love. Okay, they draft him when he is 20 years old or so. Super raw, not a lot of starting experience, and he sits on the bench for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
You know, Bo Nix is going to be an interesting case study, especially because we hopefully won't have another pandemic where it screws up all of college sports again. But you know, you could argue like, hey, what if Jordan Love just played another 4 years in college? Like, are you kind of going to get that same play? I mean, I would be thrilled if we got that sort of Jordan Love play from Bo Nix. I think like that would be freaking amazing.
For sure.
I don't know if I'm going to go that high for like my betting expectations or anything like that. But that's kind of like how I'm trying to justify like, after 61 starts, if you need more time after that,
that's what I say. I know.
It's just not going to work.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know the Denver's roster enough to know like what are his receivers going to look like? What does the offensive line look like? But I do trust Sean Payton.
The offensive line will be good.
Okay, that's good. So, and I do trust Sean Payton.
It will be great, not elite. Yeah.
That's good. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, and you know this as a football fan, it's not just about the immediate, it's about the environment, the whole team, who your coach is, who your play caller is going to be, who are the guys you're throwing the ball to. Do you have a solid running back? I mean, because I think great running backs make the quarterback job just so much easier. And I watched some Washington games last year, and I just feel like Jaden Daniels went to a safe place. I don't want to say good. I'll say safe.
I feel better again, kind of like the Broncos with their new ownership in place. They're going to be willing to spend. And I think Dan Quinn, he'll be a fine head coach. But again, like you put at, like you need to get your offensive coordinator hires right. And Dan Quinn, during his time in Atlanta, I felt overall got his offensive coordinators hires right. That's Kyle Shanahan did good. I mean, still hasn't learned his lessons from passing.
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started
in the lead, but
49ers.
Not everybody's perfect.
I'm so tired of them.
But Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is going to do a good job with Jane Daniels. He's the type of coordinator that you think could mesh really well with a player like that coming from LSU. And I totally forgot about this until I checked my terrible dynasty football roster today. I have Austin Eckler, and he's now on the Commanders. That's a nice little.
Oh, is he really? Yeah. See, I think Washington. They're not my sleeper to watch this season. But I think they're doing things. Some organizations you're like, hey, this is football. Do you want to play? Washington is kind of like, okay, we're going to slow and steady, kind of make this thing happen, and I respect that.
Yes. Now let's talk about Caleb Williams, because I've kind of been a little up and down on him throughout this whole process. But I think, in my opinion, I think he's still the best talent. And I mean, we've watched, both you and I, we've watched a lot of Colorado Buffaloes. And this is all I'm going to say about Colorado was Caleb Williams, willing his USC team to like 7 wins or whatever it got, with basically the same performance that that the Buffs had this past year, just shows how good of a quarterback he really is. But I don't know if you knew this. I grew up in the Chicagoland area, lived 17 years out there. So I have plenty of friends who are Bears fans. I was just raised a Broncos fan in Illinois. That's just how I was.
Spill the tea, David.
So have a lot of Bears friends, fan friends, and trust me, they're drinking the Kool-Aid on this. They have every right to be excited. It's really the ownership, in my opinion, that really is why the Bears have kind of been where they've been at. But hey, if there's anybody that's going to overcome the situation, maybe it really is Caleb Williams. They got DJ Moore there right now. They got Rome Odunze that they drafted, 9th overall, and they have a little bit better of a core than Justin Fields ever had around him in Chicago. So even though he's a Southern Cal guy, people forget that he's from the DC area. And so he's not going to have an issue playing in some of those cold temps up there in Chicago until they get this new $5 billion. Do you see the stadium that the
rendering?
$5 billion. That is insane.
Yeah. What's interesting to me about Chicago is I'm going to be honest here, because I root for everybody black. Since they fired Lovie Smith, I'm just like,
it's been bad hires after bad hires.
And that's the thing. So for me, and you know how I am about trust, like I need to be able to trust you, and I need to know that even when you make a mistake, that you're going to be able to recover from that mistake, fix it, and be better. Yes. I haven't seen that from Chicago yet. So for me, I want them to do well. I in a good way, I think Caleb Williams being Caleb Williams is actually going to help him because he doesn't care what anybody thinks. A man that walks around with his nails painted doesn't care about what anybody thinks. And I think that's good in Chicago. And I think that that's like a really good trait because it's like, I'm painting my nails. I don't care if you're booing me. Like, let's think about that for a second, you know? And yes, I'm going to struggle and I'm going to walk out of here with my nails painted and all of you are going to want to take pictures with me. So it's kind of like a, you know, like he might be the perfect guy to just say, yeah, you don't have to like me. You can think I'm eccentric and weird and different and gay or whatever you want to think of me. I don't care. But I'm going to throw touchdowns and I'm going to make you cheer for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I respect that. Like, be you and make them cheer for you. You know, like I heard he told the punter, like, I don't care that we got a punter because I don't plan on punting. You know, like things like that. Like you need that. I like that attitude of like, I don't care. I'm here to win games. I'm here to be the best quarterback I can be.
And I think it's, you bring up a point because I've always kind of wondered, you know, is it just self-confidence or is he like a little sensitive? But the way that you portray him in that way, it makes me feel like I don't necessarily need to be as worried about because the Chicago media is absolutely ruthless. Now, I wouldn't say it's as bad as the New York Giants or like the New York Jets, like having to pull up, you know, with
or the Eagles or Philly.
Yes, or Philly. But they'll turn on you quickly, you know, if they feel like if you don't embody that city. But the way that you describe him in that way makes me kind of see how he could be a better fit for the city of Chicago than maybe like I initially anticipated. But I do pray for my friends that for their sanity that this works out. I want to see it work out for the Bears finally. I mean, they thought I was in high school when Jay Cutler was traded from the Broncos to Chicago, and all my friends, man, I heard it, you know, for so often. And then we're rolling Kyle Orton out there, and you know, it just didn't work out for the Bears. You know, with Jay Cutler, I think, you know, he was the best arm talent that they've had since. But even he, as every other Bears quarterback, fun fact, you've probably heard me say this before, but they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in their history of their franchise. And you got to hope that changes with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why I always say, and you've heard me on other panels and do other things. Like, I'm going to look at a total package. I'm never going to, pun intended. No, I'm just kidding. I'm never going to just look at one thing and then put a person in a box because of that. Because people do that to me all the time. But what I've learned is if you pay attention to these athletes' actions, their actions are actually almost dictating how they are competitively. You don't walk around with your nails painted if you're not confident. You just don't. And you just don't. I mean, come on. You have to know that everyone is going to laugh, make jokes, take pictures, blah, blah. And then as soon as you see that, man, you're going to be like, oh my God, Caleb Williams. So it's like,
as long as he's good, just like Dennis Rodman,
Exactly.
As long as he's good, well, you know, it's all good. Any other thoughts on like any of these rookie quarterbacks or anything like in the first round, or else we can get to like some of the sleeper picks or maybe, you know, some of the other picks later in the draft that you liked?
Yeah. So one of my, there was somebody that got picked. Can we just take a second and talk about the offensive draft picks for the first, 15? First 14?
Insane.
Like, I was sitting at home going, this is going to impact the future draft because now the good teams, all the guys that they want are going to be there because this has messed up the flow. You know, it's messed up it was wild. And I'm like, so round 2, I was like, here's all here's all the guys that everybody was like, we need him, but they weren't able to get him. They're going to be able to get him. He's going to be available. And I think that's why we didn't see some of the trades we were seeing is because there was going to be so many guys available they didn't think were going to be available.
Yes. Yeah, the fact that, like, again, going back to Texas, the fact that Seattle Seahawks got Byron Murphy at 16. They didn't even need to trade up. It's insane. Jason, say hook 'em. Come on now. He's my Oklahoma Sooners fan friend.
He's devastated right now.
Yes, yeah, he feels betrayed. I'm sorry, Jason, but we also need to talk about this. You're an AFC fan, so we can align over wanting to see the destruction of the Chiefs. What the hell were the Bears or what were the Bills thinking? We knew that the Chiefs wanted to go after Xavier Worthy. We knew they wanted to pair him with Rashee Rice. He's fast on and off the field. Hollywood Brown's fast. And now they get Xavier Worthy. I mean, they just signed Travis Kelce to another 2-year extension. This dynasty feels like it's never going to end.
Can I just say something? Screw the Bills. Like, it's like we cheer for them to beat the Chiefs. They never do. We cheer for them to do all the right things, and they never do. And I don't even like them. I'm just cheering for them because, and they keep screwing it up for the rest of us. Like, shame on you, Bills. Shame on you. We were all depending on you again, and you let us down.
They waved the white flag. They're really like, we're going to let Gabe Davis walk. We're going to trade Diggs to Houston, and we're going to cut a bunch of guys. And you know what, Chiefs, you want Xavier Worthy? Screw it.
Go get him. Like, what are we doing, Bills? It's like, whenever you watch a team and everybody wants one team to win except for the other team's fans, that we all became Bills fans when they played the Chiefs. We all were like, let's go Bills. And your kicker can't kick. And now it's just like you keep showing us that we can't trust you.
I know. Now, I do want to say, I need to share this. Seeing Worthy going from one of the best facilities in all of the country, football facilities at the University of Texas, to this raggedy ass looking locker room in Kansas City. Let me just man, like this, I cannot believe this. And I came in here, this got a few likes, 22 likes. I said, it looks like you can still smoke cigs inside of it, Look at that carpet, man.
David, in that same Twitter thread, somebody said, what if I told you this was a remodel?
No way. Is this really cannot be.
So I think we're only seeing a little bit, but I think some of the things in there have been remodeled. Clearly that hasn't been remodeled, but I'm just like, poor Worthy. He's like, hey, go get that NFL money, Worthy.
Yeah. Now, Shanti Michelle, hopefully I pronounced her name correctly. She said, why haven't they upgraded? They're one of these legacy owners that they don't have this new money that they're coming into. They're kind of like the Bolins were previously. They're football family. I guess the Hunt's catch up, right? And all that, but they're not cash heavy to where they can go and finance a $4 billion stadium or something like that. I know they tried to pass some tax stuff.
I was just going to say they're trying to get the fans to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so why won't they do it? Because they're cheap. And a lot of these owners are cheap. And if they can keep winning Super Bowls and have this cheap looking locker room, they're going to do it because, to be quite frank, it's brilliant business. Let's be real. I mean, they don't have to do it. They have Patrick Mahomes. You want to come play with Patrick Mahomes and win Super Bowls? You'll deal with this shitty locker room.
Yeah, and who cares if you got asbestos up in the ceiling, and it smells like cigarettes when you walk in, like those old apartments. It doesn't matter if you got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid there. You want
to come win a Super Bowl? Come deal with this. You might die, but come deal with this.
No. I know. That was like the one thing that just pissed me off. Buffalo. And while we're talking about stadiums, it's been a while since I've complained about this. Buffalo, they're a bunch of idiots. They're a bunch of idiots for financing this new $2-3 billion stadium and not putting a retractable roof over that thing. Like, I know it's cool to have a snow game. No, it is not cool. It's terrible. The NFL's always having to now put your games on Mondays or Tuesdays.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I knew my Steelers didn't have a chance to win, but the only chance we did have to win was bad weather. and bad weather comes, and then you don't even play. You're like, no, let's go to Tuesday. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop defending the Bills.
Yeah,
I just can't.
No. They keep wide right or whatever it is. Maybe if you would put a dome over that thing like Chicago's trying to do, you'd get more. You want to get the double doinks, like Chicago got in their last big playoff appearance, the double doink. Do you remember that? I forget who it was against. Trubisky.
Was it the Eagles against Chicago?
I can't remember, but
anyway. Was it the Eagles against Chicago?
Yes, it was the Eagles Super Bowl run.
It was the Eagle. Yeah, it was because I remember that year I was cheering for Chicago. And then people were like, why are you cheering for Chicago? Nick Foles is from. And I was like, oh, right. But go Chicago. And then I was like, golly, these freaking kickers. Like, I can't.
The double doinks. But yeah, like I'm just really pissed off at the Bills right now. It is what it is. There were some other picks that I wanted to just talk about, and we'll wrap up here in a few minutes. A team that I wanted to give their props because I actually like their draft. Where's the Carolina Panthers?
Oh my God, me too. Their draft, like their draft and their free agency together, chef's kiss. Perfect.
Because I can't remember the names right now outside of no, they didn't sign Cushenberry, but I believe they signed like a handful of offensive linemen, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so as long as the offensive linemen somewhat decent, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other thing is they got 2 Texas guys, and the 2 Texas guys they got are steals. Like I made a video about Jonathan Brooks. I thought he was gonna be the steal in the draft, first running back taken. Like they win. And then they went and got Sanders, who I was hoping kind of fell to the Steelers.
401, the first pick in the 4th round. I couldn't believe he fell that far.
I'm telling you, so the Cardinals were one of mine because, go ahead. I sorry to interrupt you, but the draft plus the free agency, Carolina Panthers, I respect it.
Yes, and I assume it's you try and get at least some average offensive line play because Bryce Young needs some time. You got Miles Sanders there, who's a good running back, but then you're bringing in Jonathan Brooks, who I think was the consensus best running back in the class this year. And you just surround him with some more weapons. Xavier Legette, I think it's cool they're getting a guy, from South Carolina. Charlotte's not too far away, so that's cool. And then, I love the tight end with Tre'Davious Sanders. I mean, that's wonderful. And then I bet next year they kind of go and probably more so offensive line heavy, but I don't hate the direction. Hopefully the owner can just not meddle and stay out of it. Cause
I mean, do we trust him to stay out of it? Like these guys, I just, I'm not going to say what just popped in my mind, but these guys really, they need to back off. Like, why did you hire people to do these jobs if you're not going to let them do the jobs?
I know. Let me pull up the Panthers draft because there was another pick I think that I wanted to hit on. Let me type it in here. But I'm sorry. I want to hit as I'm pulling this up. I know we promised not to talk about Colorado, but I've just seen comments about, hey, if the Panthers have the first overall pick next year and they're so bad, would Coach Prime say Shador's not going? He's coming back to school. And I say, no, he's going to go to Carolina. No. I don't think he's going to block him. But that's just me.
What? But why? That would be like, he would only be there for 2 years. Bryce Young will only be there for 2 years.
I know. I guess it would have to be like a Josh Rosen thing. Like if he's truly as bad as he was last year with all these improvements on the offense.
I'm going to his defense though. They were bad. I mean, almost every time I looked up, the man was literally turning the other direction and running.
Yeah.
But
were they screwed up?
Didn't do him any favors.
Yeah. Is that the owner wanted him and the head coach that he wanted Stroud. And
that's
just never going to work. At least you fired him. At least hopefully you got a coach that's committed to Bryce Young now. I forget who they hired. It's the guy from Tampa, right?
I can't remember. To be honest, I don't know who they hired, and I don't know who the Seahawks hired. I don't I'm like,
yeah, who did the Seahawks hire?
I don't know, actually. Like, somebody could say they give me $5,000 and I still would be like, okay, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody put
Yeah,
in the Can somebody put in the chat who the Seattle Seahawks head coach is?
yeah.
You know what? I
Yeah.
think he came from the Ravens. Is that the guy that came from the Ravens? That was the
Oh,
offensive coordinator from the Ravens?
let me see here. Mike McDonald. Yeah, their defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Okay, defense
Okay.
coordinator. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then let me
And
go to
also, I just
Panthers.
want to say about Shador, since you mentioned it, I think he would look great at the Raiders. I think he would be great at the Raiders.
Yes.
And I think that the Rams are one of those teams also to kind of keep an eye out, because we don't know what Stafford's going to do. I mean, every game
No.
I feel like he might say he quits. I just
No. I'm surprised they haven't like just replaced his back with like steel beams.
Yeah. Like,
You know,
every game I'm like, is this the game where he quits? It just seems like we're counting down the days.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see where he goes. Let's talk Cowboys real quick, because
Gosh.
what do the Cowboys do? If you're in control of the Cowboys, do you extend Dak? What do you do? He's in a contract year right now.
You know what?
And what are people saying down in Austin? What are people saying?
I think the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. And I think they're a dumpster fire for a multitude of reasons. But the problem with the Cowboys is it's leadership. And whenever you're a dumpster fire because of leadership, it's a harder thing to work through, because the person making decisions and cutting the checks is the person that's actually the problem.
Yes.
So yes. I don't know what, I mean, at least they did a good job in the draft by going and getting, offensive linemen, because they needed to replace their offensive line. Yeah. I don't want to say they're a joke.
Signed Zeke back.
Yeah, like, I don't want to say they're a joke, because I just, I respect the NFL, and I won't call most organizations a joke, but right now it's a little bit of a joke. I don't know what I don't know, because it's not just Dak. It's CeeDee Lamb is up for a contract as well. I personally think they held on to Tyron Smith way too long. I feel like the Cowboys are a little bit behind.
I have this fear that after this year, he's just Jerry Jones is gonna do the Bill Parcells thing and just have Bill Belichick come in and run. I think Bill Belichick needs to stay retired. That man's like almost 80 years old. He should not be coaching. Yeah. Have him hang out with Pat McAfee. That looked hilarious. That was hilarious on draft night during the first round.
He was good. Him and Nick Saban are so good in the media.
Yes.
So good. What the Cowboys need to do is Jerry Jones needs to say, you know what, as a leader, I need to realize when I need to remove myself, and I need to go hire the best person, and I need to take a step back. I still want to be around. I still want to be in the locker room, do all the things, but just shut up and stop making decisions.
No, man.
He's never going to do it, but I'm just saying,
But man, I know Denver is sick of trading for quarterbacks. We're not in the position to do it, but it's just Dallas fans, man. I mean, we would have absolutely killed to have a quarterback the caliber of Dak Prescott over the last 10 years or so. But he needs to go to a team that I think appreciates. I guess he's kind of like Kirk Cousins. He's like a good quarterback. You need to have a really good team around him. Yeah. And, he's not Patrick Mahomes. And that's what sometimes I don't even think Tom Brady would satisfy Cowboys fans if he were to be on the Cowboys, but that's just how it is.
Yeah. The thing about Dak is, let's be honest, there's a lot of NFL teams that are full with game managers.
Yeah.
The 49ers, Brock Purdy, I don't care what anybody says, he's a game manager.
Man, put him on the Niners? He's Dak on the Niners, man?
Yeah, but the problem is I don't think they've realized who Dak is. I think Shanahan has realized who Brock Purdy is. I feel like the Cowboys haven't realized who Dak is. And if you don't know who the guy is you have at quarterback, you can't help him. He's limited. He's just limited. And then you have him play a style of football that's winning games, and then you get rid of his run game. And then your offensive line is aging. And then you're drafting weird guys that like played 7-on-7 football in high school. It's just, and then you're like, come on, Dak, will us to win. No, this team actually sucks. The way that you built this team sucks. Like, I actually can't help. And, but nobody ever, the whole thing is falling down and everybody can see it, but Cowboys fans and Jerry Jones. So
it's going to be interesting to see what they do because, I mean, if you are just going to tear this whole thing down, I felt like you should just trade Dak right now. Similar to bring things full circle, like Cortland Sutton. If the Broncos aren't going to extend him right now, you just need to trade him. And hey, Steelers need a wide receiver. Justin Fields needs a weapon. And, if Russell Wilson has to get on the field as the backup quarterback, right, it's nice for him to have some rapport.
Listen, I tell everybody, my Steelers went ugly. We're never going to be in a pretty football game. You're never going to watch a Steelers game and go, ooh, this is so pretty. You're going to watch a football game. We were going to say, we're going to grind it out. We might fight. We might argue. We might that's who we are. That's our identity. So it's like, if you can play ugly football, you should be a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's who we are. So I'm like, I have the Steelers for the rugged, and then I have Texas, who's like pretty polished, and they're icy whites, like gorgeous stadium, gorgeous routes, like perfect offensive play calls. And then I have the Steelers, and I'm like, just kick a field goal at the end, please.
Matt Canada. I don't understand it, but again, this is the time. If you are an NFL fan and you're not at least somewhat encouraged by your team at this point going into the season, I feel terrible. You're one of maybe a few teams. This is the time for everybody to drink the Kool-Aid, feel good about their team, and we'll see how the whole thing plays out. Really Flawed. I'm so happy you spent this time chatting it up with me about all sorts of various topics. We'll have to do this again very soon, but let the people know if they're watching on David Talks Broncos where they can find you and what sort of videos or content you have coming for them in the future.
So my YouTube channel is Really Flawed. I talk a little bit about everything. So it's really important to me not to get stuck talking about anything specific because I have so many opinions about so many different things and I want to talk about all of it. And so I talk about everything. So I'll talk a little bit about sports, a little bit about life, a little bit about Colorado football, a little bit about things that usually trigger people because I'm very opinionated and I don't care if you don't like my opinions. And so, it usually stirs up a lot of interesting things. I always say like the best place to be on my channel is in my comment section so that you can see all the different things that people are saying. But so my YouTube's Really Flawed. I can't promise you're going to love everything I put out. I could just promise I'm going to do what I want to do though.
That's the beauty
of
YouTube.
That, subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. And especially if you're a fan the Steelers or Longhorns. And then, if you're on this Colorado train too, definitely give her a sub. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm probably going to be back with a video on this Broncos channel here later today, whether Sutton's traded or I'm going to talk about Sean Payton and George Payton.
Have you checked? He had no trades have happened yet?
I don't think so. Let me refresh my Twitter feed before we log off. But
I know. I'm like, let's just double check.
One of my friends on Twitter suggested, would you give us Pat Freiermuth and a third for Cortland Sutton? Oh, please, God, we need a tight end so bad.
Well, so there were rumors that we were going to get Sanders. And I thought that if we would have gotten Sanders, I thought that we were going to use Pat to be part of trades. But then we didn't. We didn't get one. So
and y'all got that giant from Georgia too. What's his name?
The
tight end y'all drafted last year. He's like 6'8". He's like massive. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. But see, I think was he on the practice squad this year?
Yes. Well, he didn't play much.
But the thing is, though, is the type of offense that I think we're going to be running, we might need Pat. But you know what? If the Steelers, again, because I trust them, if the Steelers make that trade, I will trust whatever they have going on. So if that's what we need to do to get we don't have a second receiver. We actually don't have one.
I would straight up trade Pat Freiermuth for Sutton straight up. Darnell Washington.
So wait,
6'7".
so you would do that trade straight up without a draft pick. You would just do a player swap.
That's how desperate we are for a tight end. Absolutely. Like,
so see,
but I don't know how it works with the money.
If it's a player swap, I think that it's a go. Like, you have to do that.
Oh man, I would love that.
It gives us both what we need. Have we ever traded with Denver though? Like, beyond Wilson, have we ever? I don't know if they have a relationship.
Well, that wasn't even a trade because we released.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I don't think we've. I don't remember a time where Denver and the Steelers. But Khan is new, so we call him the con artist.
Okay.
Because the way that he makes deals are always in our favor. We're like, he's just conning people. We're like, he needs a jersey so we can go buy his jersey. That's how much we love him.
We usually lose all of our trades. It's usually just how it goes. But the Jets, we're starting to get some good deals from the Jets. We got a starting defensive lineman from them for a 2026 sixth.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah, instant starter. Jets fans were all pissed. And so yeah, I don't know why. I think it's because they signed Hassan Reddick and then they weren't able to clear cap space. So then they just had to give this guy away for a bag of chips.
Can I also just plug though? I liked what the Eagles did in the draft too. I think the Eagles did really good in the draft. The Eagles, they're another team where I'm like, they just draft well. They don't ever do anything to me where I'm like, they did what? I'm always like, okay, I could see that. They knew they had a need at corner. They went and got corners to fulfill that need. The Eagles just, whatever. Like, you can say whatever you want about them, but at least they're not the freaking Bills because I'm pissed at them.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at look at all those draft picks. Look at all that.
Didn't Jeremiah Trotter Sr. play for the Eagles back in the day? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, did he? That's a legacy. I don't know, but look at all of those picks.
Will Shipley, fun running back. I like him. Dang. Yeah, a lot of picks.
They do. I know. And more. And they're going to take some of those and watch. Somebody will want them or what. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like the Eagles do a great job. They've found the balance in letting go of guys and getting good capital. And I think that's why they didn't care giving up so many draft picks for Kenny Pickett, because they were like, yeah, we have like 10 of them. Which one do you want?
Maybe one day Denver can be in that place, but with Sean Payton, I think the odds of that are going to be very slim. And I'm just lucky we held on to all of our picks pretty much.
Yeah.
For this whole thing.
Well, y'all are building. You're on the right track. So every team's in a different spot.
I did order a Bo Nix jersey. I never wear current player jerseys. But I thought, I haven't done that. All these times we've gotten these quarterbacks, and they've all sucked. So maybe if I actually order the jersey, it will be a good omen and the football gods will bless us. But yeah, Bo Nix, if it doesn't work out, oh well.
Yeah. Well, is he number 10? Is he still 10?
I think he's still trying to decide, because right now Zach Wilson is number 10, but Zach Seegers from Let's Talk Broncos brought this up, and I think it would be hilarious. Sean Payton is an incredibly petty man, just petty. I mean, you saw him talking shit about Nathaniel Hackett last year.
Yeah.
All that. I really just want him to give Zach Wilson number 3. I just want that to happen. Just to stick it to Russ.
Doesn't the Steelers don't we play this year?
I have no idea. Yeah, actually, we do in Denver. And right now, Will Lutz our kicker as number 3, but maybe he would move that. But if Bo Nix, I really like the idea of number 1. If he just sticks with number 1, although that was Zach Wilson's college number at BYU, that was 1. So we'll just have to see.
Denver. I want to go. I can't wait for the NFL schedule to come out.
Yes.
If that falls in a week,
I'm hoping it's the opening week. That's my hope.
I hope it falls on a weekend with Colorado, but my problem is my Longhorns have so many good games this year that like I'm not going to go to Colorado if Texas is playing Georgia. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's going to be hard for me to like.
Maybe you could do like a 2-weekend thing if you can stay remotely for a week or something like that. Because
what am I going to do up there for a week?
And
I mean, I will be honest. There is a lot to do there. And the last time I went to Denver, I had one of the best times ever. Once I got used to it and I could like actually work out and do all the things I normally do, it was a lot of fun. And the food is amazing. I like the food in Denver. Boulder, I didn't spend as much time, but in Denver, I think Denver is a great place to be.
You go to Meow Wolf? Was that around last time you were here?
Oh God, I don't remember. Yeah, I think the last time I was there was when Peyton Manning played my Steelers on opening day. I think it was opening day.
Wow, that was a long time ago. Yep. Yeah. So that was before Meow Wolf. But yeah, that's funny that you talked about the altitude because I got friends that visit out here all the time. They'll be like, I'm ready to hike up Mount Sanitas. And every time I'm like, all right, but you let me know when you want to turn around. And we get maybe 15 minutes through the hike and they're like, all exhausted. I'm like, all right, let's go get some beers.
Yeah. Well, you know what I found last time I feel like I went there another time. It wasn't when Peyton Manning was playing, but I can't remember why. Was there a volleyball tournament there? It doesn't matter. But I drank a ton of water and the water actually helped me. So I drank a ton of water before I got there and then like a ton of water. I was like literally chugging it. And then I felt like I got over it like in 2 days. It was a little bit better, but
we'll screw with you for a little bit. But yeah, there's a reason why we always carry around water bottles out here. You just got to stay hydrated. And it's just how it is. But again, really Flawed. Really appreciate you coming on. This was absolutely wonderful. And are you going to be going live anytime soon? Do you have anything scheduled out?
I don't have anything scheduled. I feel like if I go live, we're going to end up talking about Colorado. And I don't know if I don't know if I can emotionally and mentally handle it this time. I don't know. I might go live. So if you're watching this,
I heard there's this guy you should check out named D'Angelo Pons. You should check out his film.
Oh my, do not. I cannot. That's the thing. Like sometimes I think I'm too honest to go live because like I try to start being very diplomatic and I'm like, it's going to be fine. And then halfway through, I'm like, I don't know what the hell this is. This is terrible. I know.
It's off the rails. 15-minute intervals.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll just go live for 30 minutes and cut it off.
Yes.
Anyway, so I appreciate you for inviting me. And I love NFL. I will talk about NFL football anytime.
Good. Because I'm going to need a lot more of this over the summer. So let's definitely be sure to do this again. It was wonderful. Guys, we'll shut it down, but y'all smash the like on the way out. Appreciate y'all chiming in. Shirley, Dewey, Jose, Nicole C, a lot of other people. Amanda, thank you. The GOAT really means a lot. And I guess Steelers got a Steelers Let's Weld. Is that
here
what
we
you guys
go?
Say? Steelers Let's Weld.
No, it's like Steelers. It's here we go. I should have brought my terrible pal, but I'm representing my Longhorns. 11 draft picks. Just saying.
Oh yes, hook 'em, Jason Watkins. That's right. We hook 'em.
Just saying.
All right. We'll see y'all later. Go Broncos.
Yeah, there you go.